My name is Samantha Conrad. I go by Sam, and I am one of your Secretariat for the conference. I go to Secretariat High School, and I'm a senior.
And my name is Kelsey. I'm again one of the Secretariat, and I also go to Scripps.
We're missing two of our other Secretariat because of the 4-day weekend. They're out of town, but it's Dan and Jacqueline, but hopefully you guys will meet them soon. So we're just going to jump right into it. Some of you have done this before, some of you have no idea what MUN is, but at its core, Law of United Nations is a simulation of what the United Nations does in a simplified form, with a little less things on the line.
Yeah.
But what's great about MUN and why I've been involved for so long is that you use your knowledge from what you've learned in history classes, from what you know from your parents, from your cultural background, from what you've heard from your friends, and you use that with common sense and logic to create a solution for some problems that are plaguing the world. And it's a great experience, and you learn a lot, and you learn how to speak in public and write speeches, and it's a really great thing to learn for the workforce from when you're in college. So I think it's a great experience, and I'm really happy that you guys are all here. Yeah, go ahead.
The other thing is you're not just representing the United States, which is something you're familiar with, but you might be representing a country like Pakistan or Germany, a country that you might not know their policy on climate change or on nuclear proliferation. And so you really get to learn about this country and what they want to do in the world today. And it really, for me, when I started MUN, it helped me to recognize that there were other agendas going on, that there were different things countries wanted to do, and it really helped me understand the process of how we work together as countries to solve world problems.
So, in the larger scale, does anyone know what the United Nations is? Could you give me what you think it is?
It was created after World War II, after Germany, what they did in the Holocaust, and their response was to stop every genocide.
Good. I'm just going to add on to that. The United Nations, as he said, was created after World War II as a place because the world at that time was becoming more and more connected, and they wanted to have an agency that could connect all the countries in a forum in a way that they could all gather and to solve the problems of the world. So that's what the United Nations is, and Model United Nations, we use a lot of the same values that they use and the same resources and stuff like that, but we are solving the same problems. So.
Yeah. All right. So the key to having a great time at the conference is research. You'll know what you're talking about. You'll feel more confident. There's several key sources that you can look at to help you discuss what your country's policies are. First of all, most countries have a foreign ministry or they'll have an embassy website. They'll differ as to how much information they actually put on there. But most countries, they do have a website that they will use to talk about what they are trying to do, what policies they are pursuing. This is great for figuring out your country's point of view because it's basically put out by the foreign ministry and what they want the world to see of that country. Another good place to start is just any basic news outlet. You have BBC, ABC, CNN, they all do worldwide news, so that's great to just keep up with what's going on in your country or what's going on about certain topics that we'll be discussing at the conference. Finally, there's also UN agencies, UNHCR, the High Commission of Refugees, UNDP, Developmental Program. They all have their own websites that they will talk about, certain problems that they're addressing right now. Again, this is a great place to start if you want just background on the topic. For topics, or for facts just about your country, the CIA fact book is a great place to start. It will have everything about your country from demographics to issues that the country is facing within its borders. Anything you need to know, I would start there. The CIA fact book, and you can just look up under your country under the index.
Yeah, everyone should probably print that out and put that in their binders that you guys are going to make, so that you have it on hand, and if someone asks you a question, you can just look it up.
Or, I mean, it is quite a lot of pages. If you don't want to do that, I would suggest targeting key points such as demographics, what's about your population, literacy rates, your exports and imports, just so you know, because it gives you also stuff as like how many telephone lines you have, and I don't think that's what you need for the conference. So you could just paste it, print it out in a Word document, which is what I've done in the past. But it just gives you general information about your country that you'll need to know.
Sorry, on the Model UN website, there's a links on the left-hand side, and I just put up a links to all the Model UN through the CIA, Factbook, and whatever. So if you go to the Model UN and go to the links, you'll see the all that information on there as well.
Yeah. And then also what's really good is just going to the United Nations website, and they have a big search engine, and then you can just type in, say, nuclear proliferation, and you can find that. You can find past resolutions, what they've done in the past. So that's also a good way to find information. And this is definitely the hardest part of MUN, is the researching, because there's so much information out there that it's really hard to find what you're looking for. So don't get discouraged, and just look at the website, because there'll be a lot of good resources for you to use. And the more you research, the better you'll feel when you're at the conference, and the more you'll know.
Another key point is I see several people already have binders. This is very good. You want to keep all your research, all your speeches in a binder. It's just a way to look a little more organized. And also, I find it easier to I have my speeches next to the resolution. So when I go up and make a speech, I have everything right there in my binder, and I can work right off of that. So that's a very key point. You need to start a binder, put research into it, and put all your speeches in as well. For actual speech giving, I know that Courtney will talk about that later on, but there will be a set speaking time, generally 2 minutes, I would say. And that's basically just how long you'll get to have to come up and speak. You generally want to stay within the speaking time. We'll give you a tap with the gavel when you're running out of time. So that at that point you just want to wrap up your speech and sit down. But I think if it's a 2 minute limit, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
It's in 1.5 minutes in the packet.
Oh, it did?
1.5? Okay, I'm sorry. 1.5 minutes. But again, you just need to make sure that when you're writing your speeches, you might want to practice speaking them and just timing yourself to see, am I within the limit? Am I way under? Should I have more than speech, or am I way over? Should I cut back on the speech? Just so that you're not on the conference day rushing through your speech, or having too much speaking time left over. The most important thing, practice. You can practice in front of a mirror. You can speak to your friends, just so you're comfortable. I wouldn't say you have to memorize your speech, but you should be comfortable with some key points in your speech so that you're not looking down, reading every single point. You should be able to look up and make eye contact with people as you're giving your speech. That also makes your speech more persuasive. If people are actually seeing you talk and people go, oh, she's really confident about what they're talking about, because they don't have to reference their speech or anything. So, all right, did you want to talk about conference day?
Okay. So, the conference, everyone knows it. Okay. So, the way that the conference is going to work, because a lot of this probably sounds really confusing for none of you who have done this before, but sorry, we kind of have done this so many times that, I don't know, we leave out parts, but we'll leave questions at the end if you have any questions. But anyway, so the way that the conference will probably work is you guys will get there, get all situated, then we will motion to open debate, which is, we'll get into those later, but anyway, you'll open the debate and we'll create a speakers list. We encourage everyone will have to speak, most likely. But we will open a speakers list and everyone will raise their placards, and they'll want to be added to the speakers list, and we'll have that all nice. And
that's basically the order in which you will come up and give your speeches.